2024's top side-by-side supercars, like the newly released Can-Am Maverick R and the Polaris Pro R, cost between $35,500 and $45,000. Fortunately, there are many machines out there delivering more performance than most drivers can use for less than half the price of a premium package of one of these supercars. At $21,999, the 135 horsepower Can-Am Maverick X3 DS Turbo's price is pretty entry-level for a sports side-by-side, while delivering more horsepower than anything near its price point, along with more suspension travel than any other 64-inch wide machine. In our 2023 Maverick X3 XRS Turbo RR test driver Eric Jones confessed that he drives his 200 horsepower Turbo RR in eco mode a majority of the time to make the power more manageable, essentially confessing that his machine makes more horsepower than he typically needs. The best side-by-side on the market for most of us isn't the most expensive. It's the machine that delivers the performance we need at a price we can afford. When we analyze the specifications of the Maverick X3 DS, it appears unrivaled when it comes to performance for the dollar. The 64-inch wide segment is also the most versatile for varying terrain. For these reasons, we strongly suspect that the DS Turbo is a machine that many side-by-side enthusiasts are seriously considering purchasing. That's why we're happy to present to you UTV On Demand's test of the 2024 Can-Am Maverick X3 DS Turbo. To pilot the DS, we met up with test drivers Eric Jones and CJ Haney. Both are long-term owners of the 72-inch wide Can-Am Maverick X3 Turbo RR, giving them a great reference point from which to evaluate the DS Turbo's performance. We visited Haspin Acres in Laurel, Indiana for our film day. It offers a ton of technical trails, with some high-speed sections to challenge the Can-Am. UTV On Demand's test of the 2024 Can-Am Maverick X3 DS Turbo was made possible by make staying in contact simple with the wireless PackTalk Edge ORV communication system from Cardo. Dynamic mesh communication provides up to a 1-mile range between units and up to 5 miles in larger groups. Water, dust, and mud-proof, it offers easy in-helmet installation with sound by JBL. Offering hands-free voice-activated operation with up to 13 hours of talk time on a single charge. PackTalk is ideal for both in-car and car-to-car communication, allowing you to connect up to 15 units at one time. Ideal for side-by-sides, ATVs, dirt bikes, or any other type of off-road use. You guys ready?
We're ready.
Roll it. Learn more or order yours now at cardosystems.com. Planet Side-by-Side makes upgrading your ride fast and affordable with their price match guarantee and free shipping on orders over $99. A leader in wheel and tire packages, they stock System 3, Maxxis, ITP, Fuel, Method Race wheels, and more. Planet Side-by-Side serves your off-road audio needs with brands like Wet Sounds, SSV Works, and Rockford Fosgate. For all your side-by-side needs with no interest financing available, visit planetsidebyside.com. Texeratech Chassis Components, manufacturers of next-level A-arms, the first on the market to relocate your lower shock mount to the lower A-arms while improving ground clearance. Thoroughly tested and race-proven by factory Can-Am, Miller Brothers Racing, and other top drivers. Next Level's revised geometry improves small bump sensitivity, bottoming resistance, and provides more precise steering under aggressive cornering. Camber and caster adjustable for quicker cornering or improved high-speed stability. Texeratech trailing arms are available in various lengths to meet your racing needs or terrain. Radius rods are available in both high clearance and standard replacement designs. All hand-built in the USA of premium grade 4130 chromoly. The best suspension components are used by the world's top racers. Available at texeratech.com. Trim packages. Can-Am offers one flavor of the Maverick X3 DS Turbo in a few colors. Other than that, the car is mechanically unchanged for 2024. It's a bare-bones machine, spec'd to provide all of the performance the average sports side-by-side driver could ever need at an outstanding price compared to the other machines on the market. Can-Am makes this possible by skipping add-ons that add to the base price of the machine that consumers might choose to switch out anyway. A roof is the only thing we consider missing from this car. Other than that, the X3 DS Turbo provides a great starting point with everything you need to have a blast on your very first drive. Engine performance. Horsepower was bumped from 120 to 135 on the DS Turbo, formerly the Turbo R, in 2023, thanks to new ECU tuning and fuel injection shared with the Turbo RR. It's powered by a turbocharged, water-cooled, fuel-injected triple-cylinder 900cc Rotax Ace engine, featuring 4 valves and double overhead cams per cylinder. A lack of an intercooler and different ECU tuning are all that separate the 135 horsepower X3 DS Turbo's engine from that of the 200 horsepower Turbo RR. Less horsepower should allow the DS Turbo's engine, drivetrain, and chassis to hold up better over time. Like the Turbo RR models, the DS Turbo features a drive-by-wire throttle with intelligent throttle control providing various drive modes. Sport mode is calibrated for more aggressive driving, with Eco mode designed to smooth out throttle response while helping conserve fuel. Air for the engine is drawn from inside the cabin behind the driver's head, where it's farthest away from dirt and splashing water. The fully automatic, continuously variable transmission received Can-Am's P-Drive clutch in 2023. It uses roller bearings in the primary clutch for smoother, more responsive engagement and improved durability. The DS transmission uses the same drive belt as the one found in the 200 horsepower Turbo RR. Our Turbo RR model has over 1,500 miles on it with no belt failures to report. The transmission features high and low forward ranges, plus neutral reverse and park. Like the top-of-the-line models, the DS features 4 drive modes thanks to Can-Am's Smart Lock front differential. 2-wheel drive is there for braking loose and sliding. 4-wheel drive trail delivers power to one front wheel until it loses traction, progressively locking in both front wheels until you let off the gas. Trail Active works like 4-wheel drive trail but locks in both front wheels more quickly, improving traction while driving aggressively, especially in slick conditions. Smart Lock also allows you to fully lock the front differential, maximizing traction in extreme conditions. With a temperature in the mid-80s and Can-Am's digitally encoded security system key installed, the X3 fires right up with the push of a button and seems instantly ready for action. Thanks to the P-Drive transmission, the DS accelerates smoothly from a dead stop with virtually zero feeling of belt lash. Clutch calibration seems spot on under acceleration, backshifting quickly when necessary, keeping the engine in the best part of the power on climbs and exiting turns. Our drivers also felt that the P-Drive transmission emitted less noise inside the cabin. Low-end power is good, easily getting rolling, pulling most hills with no need to scream the engine, allowing for a relatively quiet, relaxed drive. Utilizing the intelligent throttle control's Eco mode further smooths out the experience and easygoing nature the DS can provide, whether you're rock crawling or cruising the trail at speed. The 135 horsepower engine is responsive enough that at times it's of benefit to dial things down earlier in the throttle throw. Eco mode still provides full power at full throttle for steep climbs or getting sideways. Switch the throttle to Sport mode, and the DS Turbo feels quick and responsive throughout the RPM range. The Razor XP 1000 might give it a run at low RPMs, but once the mid-range kicks in, the DS Turbo's engine feels like it should easily check out on the naturally aspirated 1000cc class. The DS Turbo's engine provides the fun, push you back in your seat feeling that we expect from a sport side-by-side. It has no problem breaking the back tires loose for power slides, with plenty of power in reserve to hold the drift. Our drivers felt they were using a little more throttle on the 135 horsepower X3 than they do in their 200 horsepower cars, although there was still plenty of power on tap for virtually any type of driving. The steepest of dunes and ledge-filled vertical walls on the trail might give the 200 horsepower machine an advantage, but unless that's all you do, the DS Turbo provides plenty of horsepower and performance. While automatic engine braking is not a feature in the X3's transmission, on steep descents, our drivers noted that the transmission stayed engaged well enough in low range that the demand on the brakes was greatly reduced. Testing the various drive modes, 2-wheel drive was utilized for drifting. 4-wheel drive trail was all that was necessary for railing turns and negotiating rocks. We tried them, but found four-wheel drive trail active or locking the front differential pretty unnecessary for the dry, dusty conditions we tested in. One last thing considering price. We did repeated drag races against a high-mileage Turbo RR, with the DS Turbo beating it every single time. A worn drive belt in the Turbo RR was the difference maker. This proves that buying a side-by-side that you can afford to own and maintain will provide more performance in the long run, so keep that in mind when you're at the dealer. Handling and suspension. Sharing the same steel chassis and cage as the Turbo RR, the DS Turbo's chassis benefits from years of refinement. Most recently, the cage received nearly 30% thicker tubing, delivering 13% more torsional rigidity. Mounting tabs for the suspension components were beefed up at both ends, as were the high-clearance lower front A-arms and lower radius rods out back. The rear toe plate's thickness was increased, and double shear knuckles were added to the outer end of the radius rods for improved strength and rigidity. UHMW skid plates that protect the underside of the chassis are pretty minimal. If this were our DS Turbo, we wouldn't consider hitting the trail without aftermarket skid plates installed to protect our investment. Dual A-arm suspension is used up front, with high-clearance lower A-arms coming standard. 4-link torsional trailing arms are used out back. Sway bars are found at both ends. Controlling 20 inches of wheel travel at both ends are Fox Podium 2.5 piggyback QS3 shocks. They feature adjustable spring preload and very intuitive, non-intimidating 3-way compression damping adjustment, featuring soft, medium, and firm settings. Can-Am's dynamic power steering also offers 3 levels of assistance to choose from. As we'd want, the X3 DS Turbo features a square wheel and tire setup, with 30 by 10 inch tires mounted on 14-inch cast aluminum wheels at all 4 corners. Can-Am didn't cheap out on tires either, running the same premium quality Maxxis Carnivores as they do across the majority of the X3 line. The 64-inch wide X3's 102-inch wheelbase is the longest in the 64-inch class. Overall length is also on the long side at 132 inches. 14 inches of ground clearance is in the middle of the segment, with its 65.4-inch overall height on the shorter end of the class. Handling and suspension performance both surpass the expectations of our drivers, who are accustomed to 72-inch wide X3s with Can-Am's computer-controlled Fox Smart Shocks. With the DS Turbo's QS3 shocks in their middle compression setting, the ride was pleasantly plush over small bumps, while still easily dealing with a few feet of air with no hint of bottoming. None of the jumps, G-outs, or ditches that we crossed ever resulted in bottoming of the shocks that we could feel. While the X3 is known to fly high in the rear end, we found that with a long ramp face and a smooth transition at the bottom, the X3 can be pretty fun to fly. Switching the shocks to their soft setting made a noticeable difference in how they responded to small square-edged bumps. We appreciated the improvement in ride quality and articulation in rock gardens. It's a good setting for all-day casual rides that won't leave you feeling beat up. When we drop the hammer at the end of the day, we switch the shocks to their firmest compression setting, increasing low-speed compression for reduced body roll in high-speed turns. Our highly experienced drivers prefer the ability to fine-tune analog shocks a bit more, but Can-Am and Fox have 3 good compression tunes that should serve the needs of most drivers and conditions. The sway bar's well-tuned shocks, longer wheelbase, and lower seating position make the Maverick X3 feel like one of the most stable handling machines in the 64-inch class, whether you're going up or down hills or pitching it sideways. Its wheelbase may make it a little less maneuverable in certain circumstances, but the front end turns sharply for cutting tight turns. On tight trails, its 64-inch width certainly makes a difference in maneuverability compared to the 72-inch wide Mavericks. Steering accuracy is predictable and very good, whether you're driving around railing corners in one of the 4-wheel drive trail modes or steering with the back end in 2-wheel drive. Our drivers enjoyed the power steering's medium setting for all-around driving, switching to the high assist setting for low-speed technical sections. It keeps steering light, while filtering out unwanted bump feedback. Due to the dusty conditions in which we tested, squeaking developed in the chassis prior to the end of day 1. It's not a mechanical problem as much as an annoyance. More lube or different bushings from the factory, please. As performance goes, there seems to be little to no compromise when it comes to handling and suspension. Braking performance. Braking components are borrowed from the 200 horsepower models. 4-wheel hydraulic disc brakes slow the Maverick Turbo. Dual piston calipers are used at both ends, with 262mm rotors used up front and 248mm rotors used out back. Steel braided brake lines come standard. Braking power seemed identical to the Turbo RR as we'd expect, but the brakes felt firmer at the pedal. We suspect our DS Turbo's brakes were better bled from the factory. Performance and feel were both good. Interior and other details. You enter the Maverick through quarter doors, with the latches actuated by nylon pull straps on the inside. This setup seems dated and incomplete by today's standards, even on a price point focused machine. Half doors with a more refined latching and opening mechanism would be appreciated. The bolstered seats provide a low, somewhat reclined seating position, good for aggressive driving and long rides. Both seats are slider adjustable, but become difficult to slide when the tracks get dirty. With tools, the back of the lower seat base can be raised, providing a flatter seating position, raising the occupant's sight line over the hood a bit. The seats feature pass-throughs for the installation of 4-point harnesses. The DS Turbo comes with 3-point seatbelts from the factory. We found them comfortable to use with no irritating pressure points. There's a tilt-adjustable steering wheel with a digital instrument display mounted on the steering column that moves with the wheel. A 4.5-inch digital display is used instead of the 7.6-inch one used on higher-end Turbo RRX package models. On the dash, there are a number of switches and buttons to control the car's different modes and the digital display. There are also a few cutouts, allowing you to install additional switches to control a winch or other accessories. In-cabin storage is provided by a passenger-side glove box, a couple of flat trays, and cup holders. Out back, the cargo bed has a 200-pound capacity, offering versatility thanks to Can-Am's Link Quick Attach system that works with their extensive line of boxes and other accessories. Can-Am didn't skimp on lighting, with LED lights used at both ends. Conclusion. We believe the 135 horsepower Maverick X3 DS Turbo delivers more performance than the vast majority of drivers will ever fully utilize. Noticeably quicker than the 1000cc naturally aspirated sports side-by-sides we've driven. The DS Turbo possesses excellent stable handling, combined with good agility and shocks that are hard to fault for casual or aggressive driving. With features like dynamic power steering, a smart lock front differential, and various drive modes for the throttle, the DS Turbo retains key high-end features we wouldn't want to live without, while not forcing us to finance a bunch of add-ons we can add ourselves. As far as we're concerned, no other CVT-equipped sports side-by-side on the market delivers more performance for the money than the Can-Am Maverick X3 DS Turbo. Learn more about the Can-Am Maverick X3 DS Turbo and their full line of side-by-sides and ATVs at canamoffroad.com. Thanks for watching.